Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to a new session from MAV Health and Wellness Committee. I'm your host Asma Shoaib. I hope everyone is doing great and keeping safe. This session is dedicated to raise awareness on domestic abuse issues and its effect on our children. Domestic violence is a prevalent in every community and affects like um, all people regardless of age, socioeconomic status, gender, race, religion, or nationality. Physical violence is often accompanied by emotional abuse and controlling behavior. Domestic violence can result in physical injury, psychological trauma, and even death. The devastating consequences of domestic violence can cross generations and last a lifetime. To discuss further on this topic, we have our honorable guest, Jia Neelot, with us. She is serving on the board of directors of Ashiana, and she heads the outreach committee there. In her role, she offers community outreach, partnership building, and cultural competency training. So, welcome to my program, Jia. It's good to have you again. I know you guys are doing great. You have been doing great work out there in with mainly with South Asian communities, but I think you have expanded now, and you're serving all walks of like all communities, whoever approaches you. So please tell me something about Ashiana first before we move to our topic of harmony at home for our children.
Thank you, Asma. It's so wonderful to be back here again. I know it's been almost a year. Time flies. So much has happened. So, yes, I'm here representing Ashiana, formerly known as Asha for Women. That was the avatar I came in a year ago. So, we did start as an organization to help women impacted by domestic violence and their children. But with the needs of a growing South Asian community, are the issues that they have been facing, we have started evolving too. So in 2018, we started a senior service that was basically just for our seniors. So they would have a social platform. They would know how to navigate the county, the state systems. And then with the issues that we were faced with and with the questions that were being asked by our own communities, this year we started Ashiana. Ashiana, as you may know, is home. So it's basically a home for all South Asians, and that includes the 7 countries from South Asia, which is Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. We help out with any issues that is faced by any individual in a South Asian family. Since we come from the same region, we understand the culture and we speak most of the languages. So although we've been here 32 years as Asha for Women, we are now Ashiana. So today we are 27 days old as Ashiana. And the word home, which Ashiana means, gives you an idea of what our values are. So home, H for hope, which is still our bedrock, hope for everybody to have a beautiful, peaceful, self-sufficient life. O is for open-mindedness. We welcome everyone. No race, no religion, no language, nothing is a barrier. And then M is for empowerment. So that's where we all want to be empowered. So our communities, our people can all live a life which is giving them what they seek. And last of all, equality. Like I said, there is no discrimination. Everybody is treated equal. We are all equal in the eyes of the God. So that's where we come from as Ashiana. And today, as I have been welcomed here to speak about children, we did speak about domestic violence, and Asma has given us a little nutshell idea of what domestic violence is. I will be talking more about the effect of children and in domestic violence. If you would just bear with me for a second, I would like to share my screen and start presenting. So is this clear? Can you see?
Yes, it's clear.
Thank you. So like I said, I'm here representing Ashiana, and we serve South Asians since 1989. We are a nonprofit. So today's topic, like we said, is harmony at home for happy children. And what is home for us? Home is not just the 4 walls and the roof. It's not a house. It's a place where a whole family lives together. And when we say family, we are talking of parents, grandparents, children, siblings, cousins. For us in the South Asian community, all that is family, uncles, aunts, we all form a family together. And living in harmony, living in peace, living in happiness is what gives the children the biggest treasure, the biggest gift that we all have, our children. Give them the right way to live and to grow and to be good citizens of the world. So when we talk of love, we all want to love our children. We all want to live in love. What is it? Love is not just giving them gifts, giving them what they ask for. It's the caring. It's the peace at home that we can provide as adults. And most importantly, it's the harmony between us adults, because children are the ones who have to learn, and they learn from what we do, what we show, how we behave. Like I said, children are born for love. You can see over here, for him, it's 6 people in his house: his amma, his abba, his daddy, his dada, his didi, his bhaiya. So it's his immediate family that gives him what he needs in life, the happiness he needs, the base he needs, the foundation he needs. But times are when a child feels scared at home. Now, they don't know what they are feeling. They only feel unsettled. They feel, and the way they would express it to us is, I'm scared. There isn't anything to pinpoint. They can't tell you they're scared of something that's happening, the boogeyman under the bed or somebody at the door. It's just a fear that is in there. And this is the reason the fear comes, the reason the children hurt is when the peace in the house is disrupted. So in a family, the way we all stay together, it's by this strong bond of love that we have, unconditional love. We do not judge the other person. We do not judge them for anything they may do, which we think is not right. So basically, it's just unconditional love, which is the very strong bond that binds us all together. But when the peace is missing in the child, in the house, and there is disharmony because of violence, and again, when we talk violence, we may not be talking physical violence. We were just explained to by Aspa, it's not just what we do physically to another person. It is emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual, it's technology, anything that is based which causes disharmony is a violence. And for a child, that is something they imbibe. The atmosphere is very much in their body, in their heads, and they just absorb it. That's who they are as children. They're like sponges. They're here growing, absorbing, and learning. And when there is no peace, when there is disharmony, they are unsettled. If there is a fight at home, the first thing they feel is, did I cause it? I did not cause it, but did I? Was I doing something that was wrong? Was it my fault? I just want to run away. And this is something we have seen in our experience. It doesn't mean that they're running away, but the fear is there that they don't want to be in this ambience, in this atmosphere. And again, the question comes, it always comes back to them. They internalize, and they wonder, do the parents, do the elders hate me? Is that why they were fighting? And why was I born in this very disharmonious, in this really unsettling atmosphere? The home environment affects children of all ages. We cannot say it's a child who is, say, going to school who can hear it. It affects everybody. And that is, again, data, research that tells us, and we can see it. Because every moment of their life, like I said, they're like sponges. They're learning, they're seeing new experience, they're formulating new ideas about people, about relationships, about life. And when there is chatter that is not positive, that's going into them too, and it can confuse them. And it may just go deep into their conscience and come out at a time when it's not good. Like I said, all ages are affected by troubled relationships, and we'll go a little more in detail in the next one. And you can see this sometimes by the older ones saying, oh, I'm happiest when I'm away from home. We have had extended daycare people, or people, the teachers at school say, when it's time for kids to go home, they are not happy. They don't want to go home. They have excuses, and they can see it. The teachers can see it. The help can see it. So you know there is something wrong, and it's not that they don't want the people. It's not that they don't love the people, but they're scared. They're worried. And there's always a feeling of guilt. Did I do it? So this kind of troubled relationships in a home can affect everybody, whether it's an infant, a preschooler, a schooler, or an adolescent, or a young adult. What are these troubled relationships? Where does it happen? Between parents, between family members. And this could include everybody in the family. It could be the grandparents, it could be the cousins, it could be the uncles and aunts, but it could happen between anybody, and they are very sensitive. Then is the conflict between generations. So we have, all of us from South Asia, we are so fortunate that we have this beautiful culture that we all live in. But at the same time, that culture can be a challenge for children who are born and brought up here, what we call the 1.5 generation. And if we are going to be having conflict with them, or the grandparents are having with the parents, or the wife and the husband, or the siblings are having, it all affects the children. And we can see how it affects them going forward. So like I just said about the cultural tension, living in two cultures. So they have a culture which they see when they go out, when they are with friends, when they're with neighbors who do not belong to the community. And then the beautiful culture of the South Asian communities, which for them may be a bit of a challenge, because for us, it's fine. We grew up with it. It was no questions asked. You do what you're told. But we ourselves are teaching them to be independent, to be free thinkers. So when there is a tension of culture of, you can do this, but you cannot. The boy can do this, the girl cannot. Or the husband can do it, the wife cannot. And they pick it up. They wonder why. Family honor, which is such an important part of a culture. And it's such a positive part, because that makes us who we are, makes us the strong community we are, makes us just the people who are so proud of being who we are. But if we do not know the boundaries of family honor, it cannot be always family honor against everything that you know could be right for your child. There is a saying in Hindi, log kya kahenge? What will people say? That should not be our motto. That should not be the fallback for us every time. It should be, what will make our children happy? What will make our family happy? What will bring peace in our home? What will bring harmony in our home? And then again, what we see is for children, once they are in this troubled situation, they feel they do not get the support from family and community members. And this is not a fault of the community or the family. It's just that the communication is missing. We do not listen to each other. And when we say we do not listen, I don't mean the listening has to be with empathy, without judgment, without wanting to just say what you want to say. Listen and be active in the listening. And last of all, here, the one thing that really can really make things go bad is lack of access to counseling and support services. So it's not counseling where it's, we still have a stigma attached to it, but counseling could be such a positive, because it's one where the communication can be open. Like I said, it's so important. That is the one channel that will help us all live in harmony. The communication. Everybody has a say, and we listen to the say with an open mind. And support services, like organizations like ours, we do not sit there and judge. If you have a problem with either the adult or the child, we at an organization like ours, we are trained not to judge. We are trained not to say, do this or do that. We give options. We leave the door open. We let whoever comes into our door to have their say, and we give them ways, avenues, paths, just direction on how they can proceed. And whatever we do as a group, as an organization, it is for us to make sure that it's a plan that our clients who come in can implement and can live, and end of the day, have them empowered so they can have a good life. The harmony is back in the house. Just let's take a little trip into a child's mind. So what happens when, again, I just want to give you a little idea about domestic violence. So as per data, 4 out of 10 women and 1 out of 10 men suffer from abuse from their partners. And this is a little older data. We are hoping with the new census, we'll have a better idea, because we know our community has grown in this area and there are more people. It's not that the violence has disappeared or the disharmony has disappeared, but it probably is not yet the statistics are not yet there. For a child, in a child's universe, the two most important people are the parents. They are the know-all and be-all for them, especially when they are small. And parents have to share roles in the child's upbringing. So the nurturing, the teaching of good values, the disciplining, everything has to be together. And most importantly, we as parents, we as elders, we as the seniors in the family are the role models. And what we need to know is children do not just follow what they're told to do, they watch. They are watching us the whole time. So it's what they see that they practice. It's not what we tell them to do. You could not be telling them to do something while you're doing the absolute opposite. It will not work. And seeing a parent who they worship, who they love, who they respect being hurt or vilified could create a lifetime of trauma. It could be that, unfortunately, we have seen cases where in future life, they could become perpetrators of violence or they could become victims of violence. Both not a good place to be for our children, who we want to have the best life ever. There's always a confusion about family values. Again, we're talking about a child's mind when it's seeing things that's happening at home and there's disharmony. Who is at fault? Because you love both your parents. You don't want either one of them to be at fault. And then, of course, the question is, did I do something wrong? Was it because, and children do little mistakes and it becomes a big thing in their head if they feel, oh, was it because I didn't go to bed on time that they're fighting? Or is it because I didn't clean up my room? So it's a good thing that they do clean up their room, but we do not want them to be taking that as a reason for disharmony. And then the question is, here I'm just talking about domestic violence and where the woman is concerned. This could go for a man, it could go for anybody, any interpersonal violence. But just to get you an idea, the question that could come up in a child's mind is it normal for a woman to suffer? And in our communities, excuse me, it's kind of been the norm where the woman is a quieter one. Domestic violence, like I said, is 4 out of 10 in women and 1 out of 10 in men. So the child wonders, is it normal? Because my mom is not saying anything. My mom is quietly doing her thing. She's not rebelling. She is not questioning it. Or is she a bad person? Is that why people are after her? So should I even be listening to her? So the confusion in the child's mind of a person they love, they adore, they respect, but wondering how the other reactions to them and how they have to react. Confusion about family values. Like I said, for us, a home, a family is not just a father, mother, and the children, or just parents and the children. It's extended family. And we do not even think of them as extended family. It's family for us. The children, if you have grandparents, they have a special connect. Nothing like a connection between a grandparent and a grandchild. And we have all been there. So they get confused then if there is friction between the grandparents and their parents, whether it's the mother or the father. That is going to cause them so much trauma, so much turmoil in their little brains, in their little hearts. And they wonder, are they bad people? Are my grandparents or my uncles and aunts or my cousins bad people because they're hurting my parents? Or why do they not like my Amma? She's so wonderful. So is she a bad person? And then, of course, the thing that always comes to their mind, but I love them and they love me. And so where am I in all this? Why is this happening in my home? So for children, it's so much of confusion. It's so many thoughts coming from so many directions, and they feel they don't have anybody to talk with. The impact of all this could be on the health, excuse me, on personality and learning. So for us as South Asians, we are very particular about how we take care of our children. Health is very important. We want them to have good personalities, good humans, good citizens who are going to live a good life. And learning, it can affect every part of their life. And depending on their needs, at the ages they are in, the stresses are different. And again, on the experiences they face at the age they are, the impact is different. So let's just start with little ones. So the impact, possible outcomes on infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. So it could be sleep disturbances, disturbances in feeding, general fearfulness, inhibited play and exploration, crying, aggressiveness. irritability, what we call the tantrums. And I'm not talking of general tantrums children have, but this would be through a sustained period of time, and you as a member in the home will notice it. It's not normal for a child to throw a tantrum for no reason. And what is a long-term risk of all this? For the long term, we find that there is a suppressed personality. They're always wondering whether they are right, whether things are right, whether the fear is there. It may not show, of course, as a toddler, but it will come out later in life. The developmental delays have been seen and syndromes have been seen. And then general afflictions like asthma, because that again, stress just kicks it up if they have the predisposing factors to it. So here we're going to a little older children, the school-going ones. Again, we're talking health, personality, and learning. So you may have come across children who do give certain excuses. We've all been there. Don't want to go to school, haven't done homework. Okay, I have a stomachache. That's okay. That's not what we are talking about today. That is something that happens once in a while. But you have a child who's got consistently complaining of headaches, stomach aches, and symptoms which you really cannot see and you cannot judge. You cannot see if somebody has a headache. It's what they tell you. Or they have trouble concentrating on studies, just concentrating, whether they're playing a game and you see they're disoriented, they're not concentrating. And of course, the other qualities they could be aggressive with their siblings, aggressive with friends when they play, rude, rough, destructive. Or they could go the other way. They could become very withdrawn and unwilling to interact, nervous or anxious. And they're hiding. They try to keep away from everybody. They try and keep in their room, or because they may feel that they're the cause of the friction. They're the cause of all the turmoil in the home. So they try to keep away from it. And again, the long-term risk of this is anxiety and behavior disorders. They could start stuttering. Stuttering is a big cause, is stress. So stress could be any number of things, but this is one of the reasons of stuttering. Then post-traumatic stress disorder has been seen in children as they get older, and very low self-esteem. And they could become abusive. So it's a mix, and you'll see the whole gamut of the impact reactions in all age groups. Here we're going to a little older group, adolescents and young adults. And this is a little more you can see, because if it's a child who's been doing extremely well in school, there's sudden drop in grades, lack of concern. Then they're detached from the family. They will not participate in family activities. And it's not, again, I said it's not a one-off thing, or it's not a two-off thing. It's consistent behavior that should be a warning to us, a red flag to probably start exploring why is it happening. And then they're uncommunicative, so you don't know what's happening. The excuses would be, I have homework, I don't feel like talking. Or they could go the other extreme and start doing things to attract attention, sensation seeking. So you have guests and they try to be the one who's, and I'm not talking a positive sensation seeking, it's more on the negative side, something that could be embarrassing, not just for you and the family, but for them too. Antisocial activities. And the final thing which has been seen and has been documented is self-harm. All those little things that you see people doing, whether it's eating disorders that they forcefully use themselves, with bulimia and trying not to eat, anorexia, or just cutting. So those are the ones that you see. And then, of course, again, the long term, which could it's generally not just mental depression, anxiety, but then now you start seeing the physical problems, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, again, the lower self-esteem, the abusive tendencies, drug addiction, violence. A lot of this has been seen, documented, and it is not, unfortunately, with any one community, it's across the board. So this is what research tells us about children living in violent homes. So they are all the different that we've just spoken about in short, but there's a more for the older children, but that has been seen with young adults. So it's just a lot of runaways that have been seen, truancy, violence at school, teen pregnancy, use of pornography, sexual harassment, date rape, sexual assaults. And these are all the extremes which have been documented. We do not need to, our children did not even reach anywhere close to that. If we are on guard, if we keep an eye out, if we as a community work together, all we need to do is give them that harmony at home. because that is one of the reasons, one of the biggest triggers for these characteristics that are seen in children living in violent homes. So there are, like I said, there are family pressures that affect children. So again, we're again talking about our families, which are larger, which are joint families. We have, it's such a positive for a child to grow up in that environment where they don't feel it's just a parent, the two parents and them and their siblings. It's beautiful to have a large family where you have your grandparents. But those have to be a harmonious living. Those have to be, everybody has to make sure that we are not going to agree. As adults, we are going to have disturbances. We are going to have times when we don't agree with each other, a lot of disagreements. But we have to keep in mind that it does not go to a place where it becomes abusive in the relationship, whether it's between the parents, between grandparents and parents, between siblings. The abusiveness, unhealthy relationships, there are times when you feel you're right and you want to let it be known. But when we try to use control and power over another human being, that's when the violence comes in. But that, like I said, whether it's emotional, mental, physical, all of it comprises the same thing for a child. It is disharmony in the house. We should always remember, we have to discuss problems. Maybe it's not, if it's an older child, it may be harder. That's where organizations come in, and you have to make clear nothing, absolutely nothing is shameful. It happens, it could happen. If the child is having a problem, is being impacted, it can be solved. And it's just love. You do not have to give them, do not have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for counseling. It all starts at home. What starts at home has to finish there. So if we can give them that environment where they are comfortable, where they can talk to us without being judged, without being reprimanded, because they may come up, they may have they have a different insight into the world today than we have. So let's listen to them. There may be positives. And if we don't find positives, it always has to start with a conversation. You be explained to them, okay, I hear you, but why don't you listen to us? Why don't we talk about it? So these are the other options. Let's talk about it. Talking is so, so important. Communication, always keep those lanes open. As parents, as elders in the family, as the family unit, we have to look out for the signs that we spoke about a little earlier. Again, I said it's not a one-off. We have to be very cautious. We do not want to label anything. But if we know the house environment, the home environment is not exactly peaceful, is not exactly harmonious, and we see changes, 2 + 2 is 4. So let's do that. So the first thing we do is reduce tensions at home. And for that, it's for us adults. We need to talk. We need to see why we are having the friction, which is filtering down to the child. So it's for us as adults to talk about it, work our way out, and maybe go to organizations that can talk to you, go for counseling, go for anything, go to your place of worship where you can talk to the priest there and find out what can we do as adults to give our children the perfect home, the perfect place where they can grow into good, beautiful humans. And can you think of any better gift that the Lord can give us than a child? And let's just make sure that we take really good care of that gift without causing any harm to their well-being. So that, in short, for me today is just a bird's eye view of what we can do as parents and how it affects our children. Like I said, it's not something, maybe it's not intentional. The arguments may not be intentional, but we need to be cautious because we are here to give them the base to grow into beautiful human beings, to be the people who we want them to be, so they can live as just the best life that they can have ever. So like I said, it's really in short, it's not in detail. I hopefully have covered some of it, Asma, and if there are questions, I'm happy to answer them either now or later. You can reach out. But we, as human beings, as elders, as family, it's our job, actually.
Yes, definitely. It is our job. It's our responsibility. And as Muslim, I think it's a duty. It's our fard to provide a harmonious environment at home for our kids. You gave such a beautiful presentation, and I think you covered like 1,000 reasons to have harmony at home, and how will it affect. So a home, of course, is incomplete without happy, like, kids, happy children. And if we want them to be happy, more productive members of the community, more productive members of the society, of course we need to provide them the grounds so they can, they can be the best they have to be. Thank you so much, Jed. It was such a beautiful presentation. I learned a lot myself from this, and I hope everyone who is watching it has learned. If anyone has any questions now or later, they can always reach out to us at the email health-wellness@darunnoor.org. If you are watching and you have any question, you can also post it on the Facebook on the comment box. And Jai is here, so she will be answering right away. But if not, then please reach out if you have any questions. You can also post the questions on the WhatsApp group that we have at Darun Noor community, and take my number there and approach me directly. We will try to help as much as possible and as we can. So to create harmony at home, Jia, we have decided to present the next session in November will be on compassion and healthy relationships at home. So yeah, that's how we will have harmonies at home, when the adults will know how to make their relationships better. And of course, this is my personal opinion, and of course, this is the fact as well. There is no harm in seeking advice. There is no shame in seeking advice. If you think you need help, please go out and help, because there are so many people, so many organizations that are offering help, and they are willing to help. Thank you everyone for watching. Just a reminder that we will have our vaccination session, vaccination drive again. Vaccine clinic is coming again to Darun Noor on this Friday, from 12:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. They're offering Pfizer booster, flu vaccine, tetanus, shingles, like all sort of vaccines are being offered. Of course, Pfizer booster or Pfizer vaccines are free for everyone. With flu shot, there is some cost associated if you don't have insurance, but it's a wonderful opportunity to get safe, get healthy, offer your prayers, and if you need, get your vaccinations done there. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you so much, Jaya, for presenting, for being with us again, and we will be seeing you in our future sessions as well. We would love to have you again in one of the future sessions. Take care, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your kids. Take care of everyone around you. And we will be in touch. Until next session, Assalamu alaikum, everyone.